Let's talk about audacity. Now, audacity is the willingness to take bold risks with a blatant disregard to our wired fears. I want you to sit with that for a moment because one of the terms that I've used over the years, and I know other people use it, is have the audacity of a middle aged white man. And when we want to shift gears in our life, when we want to, let's say, level up, upgrade, uptick our lives, we have to have audacity. And I truly believe audacity lives within our DNA, in the very cells and bones of our body. And we need to activate it. Now, no one else can activate our audacity. People can inspire us, people can guide us into the audacity, but it's us who has to make the decision. Write that down. We have to make the decision that we're going to lead from our very own audacity. And your audacity is going to be a unique blend of you, and my audacity is going to be a unique blend of me. And this is incredibly important as we live a life led by our desires, because as we lead a life that's led by our desires, there is no set path. We cannot follow somebody else's way, because when we do that, we end up becoming sheep. We end up becoming a cookie cutter version of themselves. And I'm not here to be anyone else apart from myself. And I'm sure you align and resonate with that too. You are here to be you. You are here to live on your highest timeline. You are here to live within your highest energetic frequency, which means you've got to have the audacity to go out there and do it, to go out there and step onto the first stepping stone of the life that is beckoning you. Oh my God, I love that. Yes, I truly believe the life that is here for you is beckoning you. The life that I'm here to lead is beckoning me. Now, years ago, I used to think that when I got to XYZ, I would get all of my goodies. But now I know, as I've got older, life is many journeys of moving towards our desires, and it's the becoming of who we are to make that happen. That is the life. This is our growth, this is our evolution. And when we reach that desire, we manifest it into our reality. We must, I've learnt this by not doing it, and it causes a lot of mayhem and undue chaos. We must learn to integrate that into our very being, and then contemplate, reflect, and then there'll be another desire that calls us forward, and so on and so forth. And this is life. And when I look at life this way, I'm like, wow, yeah, this is a life that gives you life. This is a life that gives me life. And again, we've got to have the fucking audacity to be able to live this fully, because it takes memories. It takes a level of a level of deep consciousness and awareness of how we are showing up in this very single moment, because it's not what we do tomorrow, it's not what we do in the next week, it's what we choose to do right here, right now, that tweaks, turns the dial, opens up portals into the life that we know we're here to live as desire-led women. Now, I've got a story to tell you. I thought that you'd love this story. And before I dive into the story, the quote that it's running around in my mind, and I'm like, I feel like I need to share this. A quote that I live my life by is by Rumi: follow what lights you up, it will not lead you astray. And again, that takes memories. That takes memories. That takes audacity, because it really does mean striking out on your own, standing out from the crowd and learning, because by doing this, you're going to learn how to trust yourself. You're going to learn in through trusting yourself, you amplify your self-respect. Self-trust, self-respect equals, a woman embodied in her self-worth. And there's nothing more dangerous than a woman who is embodied in her self-worth, because she won't give herself away to anything or anyone that does not add value or complement herself and her life. So let's go back into, where were we? Last Friday? Not this Friday. It was about a week ago. And I was noticing something about myself. And so here's the beautiful thing about moving through life as a conscious human being, which is what I'm here to do and here to guide you into as well. We become the observer of ourselves. So I noticed I was moaning and I was complaining a lot about a lot of different little tiny things, and also quite big things in my life. Some of them were to do with moving abroad from Turkey to Tampa. Some of them were to do with my adult son. Some of them were to do with my business. Some of them were to do with the fact that I felt very alone. There was, and also there was a lot more other things scattered and sprinkled in there. And the manifestation of all of that was I was moaning, I was complaining. And when I moan and when I complain, I will pull myself into the spiral of despair. Now, I don't know if you've been in the spiral of despair. I'm going to hazard a guess and go, yeah, we've all been in the spiral of despair. And so I envisage it as a vortex, and it's a swirling vortex. And I've learned over the years that I've got to really become aware of where I am in that spiraling vortex of despair, because the further I go down it, the harder it is to claw my way out. So I know through experience, through experimentation, through making mistakes, through being conscious of myself, that when I moan and groan about things, and I also, here's the paradox, that I know that this is part and parcel of my journey of choosing a different path, that it will take me into the spiral of despair. So I noticed I was getting pulled into this vortex, this spiral of despair. And as I was falling into the vortex, I then noticed that I started to feel helpless. And underneath all of this, I know there is fear. There's fear. And underneath that is, when I look at it, there are my wounded parts from my past. Now, I am a woman who comes from adversity and trauma, and I have clawed my way out of that to live a life where my desire lead the way to being consciously single, sober, financially independent, and living a life that really supports me, that really helps me to flourish, to be my best version of myself. And yet, when I moan and groan, I will spiral down into that vortex. I will feel helpless. Now, I want to tack into the helplessness. The helplessness will then trigger in my DNA, because we have all these archetypal energies within our DNA. It will then trigger my archetypal energy of the martyr, the victim. Now, the martyr, the victim, much like other emotions like jealousy, oh, damn it, I can't think of another example right now, but let's just use jealousy. It gets a really bad rap. It's like, oh, you're such a victim, or you're so jealous. And we use it as a slur against other people. And my invitation is for you is to stop doing that, and to really release the labels that we have around these archetypal energies, around our emotions. Because when we label anything, we put it in a box, and then we get into that duality mindset that this is good, this is bad, this is wrong, this is right. And then we move into black and white thinking, and it doesn't work. Life is a paradox. Life is a blend of everything. And so the invitation here is to notice how you label certain emotions, certain archetypal energies that reside within you. So let me get back to the story. So there I am, moaning and groaning about my life around certain circumstances. I'm clinging onto the top edge of the spiral of despair. I've triggered my martyr, my helpless archetype, which then triggers all my wounded parts from my past traumas and my past adversities. And if I give you some examples, there's the little girl that when she was bullied, no one liked her. She gets activated and feels, oh my God, what are we going to do? Like, you're scared, I'm scared. There's my 16-year-old that is kissing her first boy and going, oh my God, I feel so much shame around this. And who am I? And oh, what are you doing? And so she gets triggered. And then there's another version of me in my 30s when I was spiraling out of control with drugs and drink and toxic men, and she gets piped up. And then there's another version in my 40s when we hit rock bottom and we're living on the breadline. So all these parts of me get super activated when, and the whole hook that gets me into this is me living in the moans and groans. So they're all waking up inside me, and they're demanding their attention. And so this sort of symphony, this orchestra of inner voices, because now my intrusive inner thoughts are like activated on full fucking alert. And they're saying, we can't do this. What have you done? How are we going to handle this? Where are we going? Who's going to help us? No one's going to help us. This is insurmountable. So this is all going on. And as I said a minute ago, the beauty of being a conscious human being is this is all going on. So I'm in that, and I'm also observing all of this. And so I noticed it. And how I noticed it was I sat with my baby sister who lives in Tampa. And that's one of the main reasons why I chose Tampa as my first stop in the US of A, because I had family here. And I was sitting having a coffee with her, and I felt helpless. And I was telling her about everything. And I was like, everything feels insurmountable, Jackie. I don't know how to move forward. I don't know how to help George. I feel so alone. I said, I know that you're here, but you can't do any of this. I have to be able to make these big life choices. And I truly believe this is part of being an adult. I have to be able to make these big life choices and deal with the consequences. There is no one, and this is the truth, there is no one in my life to back me up, to hold me when I flounder, when I fall. I have to catch myself. Now, another woman could come into this and go, oh my God, you're so independent, you're hyper independent, you don't want help from anybody else. No. This is my life. I have chosen this life. I am consciously single. I don't have a partner. I can, yes, talk to people about my issues, my challenges, my problems, but nobody can make any decisions for me. I am the one who has to make the decision and then sit in that decision and deal with whatever comes my way. And so I'm in all of this. And so I'm giving you kind of some reflections about kind of as I was watching all of this. But I was also watching after I talked to my sister Jackie, and I was crying and I was like, oh, it was a lot. It was a fucking lot to deal with. And as I walked away from Jackie and I got in my car, something like there was a little dial that just clicked in me. And I recognized what I was doing because I also recognized the patterns that come from me when I go down the spiral of despair. And one of them is I isolate myself away from everyone. And so I could feel that. And that's why I had the coffee with Jacqueline, because I was like, I need to tell you what's going on. And I just need you to be a sounding board. And I truly believe as well, when we are going through these big, tough life challenges, that we have to be mindful of who we tell as well, because that is a lot of information to land on somebody else's lap. And unless they're well versed in handling their emotional landscape, they're going to take that on board and they're going to want to fix it. And I prefaced all of this and I said, you can't fix this. You can't fix this. I just need you to be a sounding board. So I chose a different route because I know that when I isolate myself away, that increases me falling down my spiral of despair, because then I increase that shame spiral as well, which is in me from making lots of mistakes in my life. And so I talked to Jackie. I gave her the kind of frame. I was like, no, I just need to offload. And so as I walked away, I sat in my car and I took a couple of breaths and I started to recognize, that, whoa, I'm in the middle of a really challenging time right now. And so one, I have to recognize that. I have to also, then I started to recognize that, damn, I am moaning and groaning, and moaning and groaning is a frequency that drags us down. This is why when I talk to people, I don't like moaning and groaning. I don't like connecting over moaning and groaning or gossiping, because it pulls people down into a frequency where it compounds the fucking problem. The other thing as well, and I think I've mentioned it online, on TikTok, on Instagram, is my makeup, kind of like what I've learned to do, is when people offer me advice when I'm not ready to receive it, I will get defensive, I will close down. So again, I was telling Jackie's getting used to me, that she says, I know I can't offer you any advice. I was like, no, because if I want advice, I'm going to ask for advice. And so so in all of this as well, it's been very clear. And when I've run big groups of women, through my programs, when they share, I'm like, you've got to be very clear at the preface what you want. Do you want to be heard? Do you want advice? Do you want someone else's wisdom? Do you want to be validated? Do you want love? And so we have to learn. These are our needs, and we have to learn to be able to express our needs, because nobody knows what we need. And this is why most relationships will falter on that fault line, because one partner or the other partner will say, well, they should know what I need. No one should know what you need. That's your job to know what you need, and you need to be able to express it. I call it verbal seduction. in a way that it lands for the other person and they're able to navigate that with you. And this is in relationships. So this is, I mean, as I'm talking about it and I'm unpacking this is my messy process. And what I noticed as I was sitting in my car, I was like, fuck. It's like, ha, there it is. When I drop into when I activate my martyr archetype, this is, and I'm leading us into audacity. All right. This is all leading into audacity. When I drop into my martyr archetype, I feel helpless. There's a part of me that latches on to people, and that part wants that person to help me. It wants them to fix my problems. So there's a more conscious part of me that knows this is all going on, but there's this unconscious part, and I really felt that. And it's like an energetic cord that kind of reaches out to me into the other person, and that's what was happening with Jackie. It's like, so I was telling her all about this. And so on the top level, I'm moaning and groaning. On another level, I'm witnessing it. And on another level, there's this unconscious cord coming out into me going, help me. I want you to help me. Please help me. I can't do this. And then what happens with that unconscious part is like, oh my God, she can't help me. No one likes me. So again, all my parts get triggered. So all of this is very layered. It's very nuanced. And this again is why I live a life that makes sense to me. I live a deliberately paced life. I live a life where I don't fill my calendar to the brim. I'm not busy. I don't subscribe to the notion that I've got to be flying off here, there, and everywhere. And I'm very discerning about how I spend my time and my energy, because it takes time and energy to be able to manage myself as I move through the world. And as I've already said, I'm a desire-led woman who is out here living a life on my own terms with no fucking pathway in front of me other than the first stepping stone. And that requires, as I said, memories. So I'm noticing all of this. I'm noticing all of this. And because this isn't the first fucking time I've done this, when I sat in the car, I was like, I can see it. I can see all of this tumbling in together, the moaning and groaning, the energetic shift, the moving into the spiral of despair, the helplessness, the martyr archetype, the part of me that wants someone to help and then they're not helping. And then I feel resentful against that person because they're not helping. I was like, oh, you've lost your footing. You've become disconnected from your core, from your power. You're not taking responsibility for yourself. You're letting the martyr lead. You're letting all your wounded parts lead. So I have to take a beat. I have to breathe. I have to notice all of this without, and here's the magic medicine, without judgment, without berating myself, without dismissing all of this and saying this is nothing, because it's not nothing. These are all the tiny things that are going on inside me that are requiring my attention. So again, I'm in the car, I'm breathing, I'm noticing it. And I put my hands on the steering wheel and I put my feet on the floor of the car. And I was like, yeah, we need to come back into a place of power. We need to come back into a place of personal responsibility here, which I know it's hard. It's really challenging to do that, especially when we've woken up all these wounded parts of us and that martyr archetype is leading the way. So as I'm recognizing all of this, I'm like, I'm not helpless. I'm not going to lead from my martyr, because I've led from my martyr and it doesn't get me anywhere. I've also let all my wounded parts lead at various times in my life. It's not their job to lead. Do you know what it is? It's my job as my conscious, highest self, me, to be able to take good care of those parts. So it was like I shifted, like I said, it was a click. And I was like, remembering who I am. It was, oh, yes, I don't get to choose that way. I get to choose this way. I get to choose stepping into the woman I know I'm here to be. And this requires lots of mini life and death cycles within me. And so we think about life and death like it's just going to happen once. It's not. It happens over and over and over again. And it's this recognition that no one is coming to save me. No one is going to come and rescue me. No one's going to come and fix my problems. But my martyr wants that and thinks that to be true. And as I clicked back into who I'm here to be, I remember I'm my own heroine. I'm the warrioress. I am the one that can course correct the direction of my life. And then that's when I remembered, shit, I need to amplify and activate my audacity within me. And as I said, the audacity of a white middle-aged male it's the willingness to take bold risks with a blatant disregard to my wired fears. Now, there's nuances in that, and I wanted to give us a definition so we could work off. And so with me, yes, there is a disregard to my wired fears, but there's nuances underneath that because I am taking care of those parts. They don't have to lead. I'm reminding them that I've got that. I've got this journey. I don't really know how I'm going to do it or what the next step is. And yet, as I move into amplifying my audacity, which comes from the realm of the dark feminine energy, I can then hold myself with more gravitas. I can remember my resilience, my tenacity, my inner strength that I've built over the years. So my inner parts, my wounded parts can go, oh, thank fuck that we don't have to lead the way anymore. And they're allowed then to sit around, and my practice is called tea and cake. And I have this big table around my heart where all these parts can go and sit and have tea and cake. And there's a big chandelier above the table, and they're all pouring themselves tea and they're jumping around and they're eating cake. And I'm sitting at the head of the table and I'm like, do you know what? You chill. You chill. I've got this. I've got this. I cannot fucking lie to my inner parts because they know. I'm like, I don't know all the answers, but I've got this. And it's that choice to step into my power, to step into my audaciousness, to be able to bet on myself, to back my choices without, write this down, anyone else's approval. The audacity is to show up for ourselves fully in the moment as the woman that we know that we are here to be. And I know that that woman is running through the cells and bones of your body. We have just got to tweak those mini choices in the very moment to activate her, to get her to lead. And so, as I already said, I'm skilled at doing this through many years of experimentation and mistakes. And so I rerouted. I came back. I breathed. I remembered who the fuck I am. And I know that this energy, and I say this comes from the dark feminine part of me. This is where I know I can course correct my life. I can change the direction of my life. And I need this energy, the fucking audacity to be able to unsheath myself from the martyr, because the martyr comes over me like a big cloak, big heavy cloak. And so I take her off and I take responsibility for how I am feeling, for myself, and I root into the wisdom that I can handle anything that comes my way. And I truly believe that this notion, this wisdom, this knowing that you and I can handle anything that comes our way, that's manifestation. That's the law underpinning manifestation, because manifestation is the creation of the life that you know that you're here to live. And I tell you what, as you go out into the world creating a life, a desire-led life, you are going to fucking turf up every part of you that is not on board, every part of you that does not feel safe. And I always say the war tends to be more on the inside than the outside. And you need to know the art of war. There's a book there. The Art of War. You need to be able to know how to negotiate with these parts of you. You need to know how to soothe these parts, how to allow them to be a part of you without dismissing, denying. Because how many of you have said, oh, I was such a loser then, or you dismiss, as I was saying earlier, you dismiss an emotion. It's like, oh, I'm so depressed. I'm never going back there. Or grief, it was really horrible. I don't want to visit that again. Or, overwhelm is so bad. Or when I'm stuck, I just feel like I'm such a failure. No. All these parts of you are you, and you can't smack talk any parts of you, because they will come up and come and get you, like they did with me, because I was moaning and groaning. And so as I settle into the realm of audacity, and as I've soothed these inner parts of me, I can access the part of me that's willing to take bold risks without tapping into my wired fears, without accessing them, because I've taken good care of them. I've taken good care of my inner parts so I can keep moving forward. And this ain't a one and done practice. This is an ongoing vigilance. I don't know if you know that I'm a student of the I Ching. I've been reading it for over 5 years. And they use vigilance. They talk about vigilance over and over and over again. So I know that as I step into my audacity, my unique blend of audacity, which is fueled from my dark feminine energies, I know that when I take actions from this place, in this very fucking moment of this very fucking life, I'm going to shift how I move forward. I'm going to be able to handle whatever comes my way. I'm going to be able to keep moving forward when I can't see the path for the trees. Is that a saying? You can't see the forest for the trees for the forest? Let's say for the path for the trees. And so audacity is a skill. And so when people bandy these words around, bandy, is that a word? When people talk about audacity, this is why I love to take a word and really unpick it and really understand why I'm using that word. It's not just a word, it's a skill, and you need to hone it. Because when you do, that's when you become the woman who knows she can do anything. And I talked about manifestation, about creating a life on your own terms, about living with aligned with your desires. I talked about that on a recent or they're called Reel, TikTok. And I've read certain books over the years that have really changed the trajectory of me of creating a life on my own terms, of living aligned with who I'm here to be. And one of those books is The Power of Awareness by Neville. And he talks about the law of assumptions. You assume whatever you want is already there and you move into it. I tweet that and I call it knowing. It's the knowing. And so you move through life with this knowing inside you that whatever you want, it's already out there. It's on a different timeline, and you need to become an energetic match for it so you can bring it into your reality. And that's why you need audacity. And all of this is what I'm here to guide you into. I'm here to guide you into a life led by your desires, where you're rooted in you, where you deeply trust yourself, where you deeply respect yourself, where you can handle any wobble, any twist and turn from either inside or outside, where you can pick yourself up. Because life will fucking humble you, and it will humble me, and it will bring us to our knees over and over again. We need to be able to dust ourselves off, stand up, and carry the fuck on. Flaunt season is coming. This is my brand new program, September the 6th. It's a 30-day, wickedly playful adventure experiment. I love experimenting with things, where we get you out of your conditioned comfort zone. We court your desires, unleash your dark feminine energy, so you can show up and stand out without an ounce of apology. Join the wait list, and it's in the show notes, because everyone on that wait list gets access to VIP pricing. As you dare to let your desires lead the way, I'll meet you there.